What it do? Bedtime crew. Hey man, listen, today I am here to talk about UFC 325, which will be headlined by this absolute joke of a fight between Volk and Diego Lopes in a rematch to a fight that happened literally this year. I went off about this in my reaction video when they announced 324 and 325, and people are calling me a contrarian for saying I'm not mad at Paddy Pimblett getting a title shot. I don't see what I said being wrong, bro. Paddy Pimblett is a big name. He's exciting as fuck. He's on a win streak. I think that his fights have been super entertaining. I don't think anybody ranked below him deserves to be ranked above him. I think that Michael Chandler is an equivalent win to beating someone like Mateus Gamrot or fucking Beneil Dariush. And the thing that fucking annoys me before I get into what I'm here to do, which is to fix this card and make it worth watching by building a badass fight card and a badass prelim card underneath this, is, listen, bro. If you are someone that says Arman Tsarukyan should be in the title fight, I agree with you. I think it should be Arman versus Paddy Pimblett because Max Holloway is injured and he's probably not coming back until March or April, right? In a perfect world, injuries off in 2K type shit, is Ilya versus Arman for the belt. That is obvious to everybody, right? But I'm literally seeing people crash out about Paddy Pimblett getting a title shot. Never mind the fact that Gaethje is the one that, in my opinion, does not deserve to fucking be there. Michael Chandler's a better win than Rafael Fiziev. Rafael Fiziev has no real wins to his name. I'm just going to say that as it, like, that's just a fucking fact. I know that Fiziev has aura and mad edits, but that's just actually a fact in my opinion. But the thing that fucking pisses me off is, like, people will crash out about that because they're like, oh, what about Arman, even though he fought a week ago? And they probably already had Pimblett versus Gaethje lined up. And then they were like, fuck, all right, let's make it an interim title fight while Ilya's away. Because the UFC obviously wants to see Ilya versus Paddy, and most of us fans do too. It should be Arman, right? But people complaining about this are now defending Diego Lopes getting a title shot. I'm not joking. I'm seeing fucking people, like big accounts, defending Lopes getting a title. Well, if you actually think about it, bro, he's the most exciting. I'm sorry. I thought you were Mr. Number One contender. I'm sorry. I thought you were Mr. What? What about Arman, bro? What about Arman, bro? What about Evloev? What about Murphy? And I understand with Evloev because he's been inactive as fuck. All right, fuck him. He doesn't get a title shot. Lopes versus Yair or Lopes versus Evloev and Lerone Murphy should be getting a title shot because he's on a huge win streak. He's a fresh matchup. And he's a more, he's a different style to fight Volkanovski. Why are we running the same fight back again? That's all I want to say. And that's why this main event is fucking dog shit to me. I don't care how entertaining this is. You could literally match up fucking Volk versus two fucking chimpanzees. That's going to be entertaining. I'm going to be uncertain. I'm going to be nervous. But that doesn't mean they deserve to be in there fighting for the fucking belt against the GOAT Volkanovski. That is my point in my reaction video. I'm standing on business with that. And now I'm here to save the world, bro. Because us Aussie casuals, we love Volk, all right? We will be supporting Volk in this rematch. We will be rooting for Volk to beat the blockhead Lopes again that he just beat already, 49-46. The only reason it was competitive is because of his chin. But what this card needs because of this main event is it needs a stacked undercard. So today I'm going to present a full main card and then I'm going to talk about some prelim fights that I would absolutely love to see for the Aussie hardcores and for the real MMA fans out there. Let's get into this. Opening up the main card, I think there is one man that you call for this Australia pay-per-view. He is one of the biggest stars right now in Australian MMA. It's not me. I'm not opening up the main card. Bloody Quillan Sourkill. Get him in there against fucking Ruffy. All right, Ruffy's not going to do none of that floor stuff that Islam Maklashev's always doing. That bloody Kazmat tried to do to Bobby Knuckles. Quillan Sourkill versus Mauricio Rufy. Come on, this is a badass fight. This opens up the main card. Who's telling me otherwise, dude? Who's complaining about this? This is a sick fight. I think it makes a lot of sense logistically, timeline-wise. I think in terms of jumping up the rankings and fighting a big name, you beat Mauricio Rufy, you can fight fucking Michael Chandler. You can fight Renato Moicano. You could fight fucking Beneil Dariush. I'm seeing rumors that Beneil Dariush is fighting Quillan Sourkill in Australia. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that would be kind of funny as a Beneil Dariush fan to see my guy just tank his career. Like, just get absolutely flatlined in 10 seconds by Benoit Scamdenise and then turn right back around. I'm not done. Turn right back around, come back in Australia. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Rufy versus Sourkill is a much more realistic fight. I think that's a sick matchup that we'd all love to see. And I think that's a great way to open up the main card. Next fight to make, I think this makes a lot of logical sense with the featherweight division because, listen, this is a good division. I know I'm kind of a hater of featherweight sometimes, but there is a lot of talent at 145. There's some exciting fights I want to see in the future, and there's a big question mark with the main event of Volk retiring and what's going to happen when he beats Lopes again. I think that we need to set up big fights at featherweight. So I think a very obvious matchup to add to this card is Evloev versus, I believe this kid's name is Leon Murphy or something like that. Leon Murphy, something like that. The kid's won 9 fights in a row. The kid's coming from, I truly believe I deserve a title shot, but he's talking about some stuff like, I don't know. I've never heard of this guy, but apparently he's coming off a pretty nasty knockout against Aaron Pico in PFL. So I think that Leon Murphy versus Movsar Evloev is a good #1 contender fight to add to this card. And obviously, if Diego Lopes trips on a fucking cable or something, boom, you throw one of these two knuckleheads in there with Volk, and you've saved the card, in my opinion. Yeah, I think this would be a really cool matchup. All jokes aside, like undefeated versus undefeated. Very rare in MMA in the UFC, especially among top contenders. It's very rare for two guys to get to the top of a division undefeated. It feels like every single weight class kind of has one guy that's undefeated. But having two of them, I think Leon Murphy, he loses a little bit early on, but then builds into fights. Same with Evloev though, and I think Leon Murphy has a little bit more danger on the feet in terms of damage. There's a bit of beef in this one as well. Leon Murphy tweeted out a video. It seems to be an image of him knocking out Evloev in the gym. So I really hope this fight gets made. I wouldn't be mad if this gets skipped for a pay-per-view and gets made into like a fight night main event. Just don't throw him in the Apex, bro. I know how the UFC thinks. I know how Dana thinks. I know Dana's like, what's the kid's name? Movsar Evloev, the kid he fights in the UFC. Okay. Listen, I'll talk to the guys on Tuesday. Listen, I'm not trying to fucking promote Evloev, listen, he's up to some shit. But dude, Evloev as the fighter and as the #1 contender, and Leon Murphy, these guys both have a claim to the title shot. I think both these guys fighting each other would be a really sick fight. And my logic of putting it in Australia as opposed to a 5-round main event in the Apex is like peak banishment, right? Australia, that's kind of sneaky banishment. It's like, yeah, we'll put you on a pay-per-view, but you have to fly halfway across the world, and also you're getting taxed 50%. And also the crowd's going to boo both of you guys. You know what I mean? That, to me, is a very good punishment for being boring as fuck, which is the biggest crime in the UFC. So I would say let's ship these guys 2-3 years Australia and forget. I don't know why I went American on the end of that, but let's ship these guys to Australia and fucking get them out of here, mate. Let's get them on the main card, all right? Featured fight of the night. I would love to see this individual fight in Sydney. I'm thinking of going to this pay-per-view. Let me know if you guys want me to do that and make a video on all this stuff. I'm really considering it. I'm kind of looking at details and shit like that. So listen, I'm not saying I'm going to jump the cage and fucking slime out Lopes, but it's a possibility, all right? I think a great featured fight that I would love to see is Israel Adesanya bouncing back against Caio Borralho. Caio Borralho, in my opinion, is one of the most overrated contenders in the middleweight division, bro. Listen, I don't hate the guy, and I think this ties well into the Fighting Nerds link on the card of having Mauricio Rufy as well on this fight card. Izzy has talked in the past about how he respects that Borralho wants to fight him. He's down to do it. So I think it makes a lot of sense. Both these guys are coming off losses to Nasruddin and Mavov as well. So I think it makes a lot of sense. The only other person I would like to see Izzy fight on this card would be Gregory Rodriguez. I was thinking of maybe matching him up with RoboCop just based on hear me out, right? Hear me out. I know that sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but it's not though. It's really not if you think about it in your fucking head, right? Because first of all, Adesanya said he sees himself fighting RoboCop at some point. Very fucking weird, but it is what it is, right? Number two, if Izzy wins that fight, it's probably by brutal knockout, and then he can get, the last time I fought a Brazilian, you guys seen what happened. This time it's the same exact thing. Trust. You know what I mean? He gets to bounce back. He gets to have this big moment in Australia, in front of a very friendly crowd, probably a lot of Kiwis coming over as well. And number three, if Adesanya loses, that is 110% confirmation that Izzy is washed, right? My thing is, Izzy, we don't actually know if he's washed. We don't actually know, right? It seems like he is, but if you really think about it, there's two parts for this brother, okay? You lost to who? Strickland, #1 contender, not a bad loss. You lost to Dricus, former champion, #1 contender, not a bad loss at all. He beat Strickland twice. So you can't be washed for losing to them. And now in Mavov, people are saying Mavov is he's the #1 contender. He should be, he might beat Hamza. He's got great technique. Like Imavov is good as well. So in my opinion, Izzy's just lost to the past 3 #1 contenders. To me, if you lose to Baralho, it is bad. Like, it definitely makes me look at you differently, but I can still understand that Baralho is probably a top 5, top 6 kind of talent in the middleweight division. If you lose to Gregory Rodriguez, I'm like, bro, you're on the prelims, dog. That's just what it is. If you lose to Rodriguez, bro, you're not ranked. You don't deserve to be ranked. Go on ahead and move up to light heavyweight. That's my logic, right? But with this matchup, I think it's very realistic. I'm not going to match him up with RoboCop. I think Baralho, he would accept that. That's a bigger name. The Fighting Nerds storyline and Fighting Nerds kind of hype would add onto it. And I think this would be a good matchup. I think Baralho would go out there and I don't know. I just think he's overrated. I think his boxing is kind of shit. I think that he has like good calf kicks and shit, good kicks to the body. His wrestling is decent. His jiu-jitsu is pretty good in the middleweight division. But I think Izzy could beat him. Like, I think if Izzy is not completely washed, I think he actually wins this. And that's kind of a good win for him. So I would say Adesanya versus Baralho is actually a really good move, all right? Now, co-main event to Volk versus Lopes. Man, I'm about to cheese just thinking about this, bro. I'm literally just smiling. I'm just getting butterflies thinking about this right now. Mate, all right? JDM is fucking coming back fighting Protest. Let's fucking go, mate. He beats Protest in a 3-round fight. I don't give a fuck, dude. Protest is not taking my boy down and smudging him, dude. If he's fighting Sean Brady, okay, I'm kind of worried. But I still think he's chins Sean Brady. I think Sean Brady just melts due to the fucking pure aura of JDM, okay? I think if he fights fucking, who else? Usman's a little fucking blockhead boxing. I think he gets fucked up, but he could maybe smudge JDM. I'd be worried. Carlos Prates, that's a dangerous, scary fight that I think JDM wins pretty cleanly. I think he's a lot more technically sound on the feet as a boxer than Prates. He has great defense on the feet. He has a great chin, mixes up things well to the body, fires in combination, which we saw Ian Gary doing very well against Prates. If there is any grappling, I think JDM has proven he's a very good scrambler, especially if you're not fucking Islam Makhachev taking creatine. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I'm saying? Like, Islam fluked a win over him. I think he bounces back against Prates. And listen, for all these Lopes fans, hey, maybe I have to get on board with you guys. If JDM wins this, we just give him an immediate rematch, dude. Why not? Why not, guys? I mean, he's the most exciting guy. He's more exciting than fucking Brady. He's more exciting than Usman. So we should just give JDM an immediate rematch if he wins this, right? That's the logic you guys are following. But I think that JDM versus Prates, no bullshit, no ranting involved, is a sick fight. People are going to be super hyped about this matchup. I think people are going to be super back and forth about it. I definitely see Kenny Okolo fucking getting on my case, trying to act like JDM's a bomb, Prates is going to sleep him, all that. And me firing back, talking about, bro, hell no, JDM sleeps this fucking guy. I think this would be a really good addition to the Sydney card as the co-main event. Or if you want to give Adesanya his respects and make him the co-main event, I don't mind if we are the featured fight against Prates, but I think JDM, considering he took no fucking damage against Islam whatsoever, can come back pretty soon. I hope that he gets on this Australia card, fighting on the same fucking card as Volk. That'd just be so cool. Him and Salkild and Volk be a great card. I would do JDM versus Prates as the co-main event to Volk versus Lopes. That's what I would do, because I'm thinking, you know, we've got a lot of Australian versus Brazilian happening on this card, and I think that, you know, Lopes and Volk, listen, when it comes to this matchup, I'm just going to accept that it's going to happen, okay? I think it's a fucking joke. I think that the WWE matchmaking of the UFC is getting really fucking ridiculous. There's some times where I don't mind it, and I know this is a hot take, but I actually don't mind Paddy versus Gaethje, but this is just inexcusable. Like, Arman Sarukian not getting a title shot, it is also inexcusable, but there is some sort of explanations to it if you think about it. So there is some excuse, right? Arman Sarukian did not fight for a year and a half, right? I don't think the UFC is punishing him. I think they want him versus Ilya. I don't know if Ilya wants that fight right now. I think Ilya would rather have a big money fight against Paddy Pimblett, win that, and then go up and fight Islam. But my logic is, Arman Sarukian had all this time to fight. And if he had fought in September or you know, July or August or fucking even October, I feel like the UFC would have said, Ilya, mate, we want you to fight Arman in January, right? But the fact that he just fought at the end of November, you seriously think they didn't have any plans lined up for January until Arman finished fighting? I just feel like they had Paddy versus Gaethje already lined up. Or maybe Ilya agreed to fight Paddy already in January. Then he pulled out. Then they're like, all right, well, we did promise Gaethje a title shot. We don't know what's going on with Armin. Let's just set that fight up. That's what I think happened, right? But I think, obviously, in a perfect world, it should be Ilya versus Armin or Armin versus Paddy Pimblett while we wait for Ilya. And for Volk versus Lopes, I'm sorry, I don't care how entertaining you are. It would be entertaining to see fucking Nate Landwehr in there. That doesn't mean he deserves it. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much bullshit, like, double standards when it comes to defending shit like this. This is a fucking joke. This is literally worse than Strickland DDP 2. And I mean that. Because at least Strickland DDP 1 was close. A fucking split decision where I thought Strickland won and a lot of people did too. Diego Lopes, I love the kid. God bless this little blockhead. He got schooled, bro. He has 2 highlights in that fight where he actually wins the round. He was losing round 2, then he flukes a right hand, drops Volk, wins the round. Okay, right? Round 5, he walks down Volk, missing everything but emoting and doing all this shit. Volk's clearly aware I've already won the fight and just moves around on the outside. I'm sorry, it just doesn't make any fucking sense, especially when you have Evloev ready to go. You have Murphy coming off a win if you don't want to reward Evloev for sitting out from December, which is fair, right? Because I always call out Shavkat for asking for a title shot when the guy hasn't fought since December last year. So that is fair to me. But the fact that it's fucking Lopes, I would literally have more respect for the UFC if they gave Aljo a title shot right now. And I ranted about Aljo like 2 days ago. So this is a fucking joke. I think JDM versus Prates would save me. I think that Adesanya versus Baralho would be a banger addition. I think Evloev versus Morphy on the same card would give a lot of clarity to the division and maybe ease things a little bit. And I think Quillan Salkild deserves to be on the main card of this pay-per-view for what he did against Nasrat Haqparast. Now let's talk about some prelims that I would love to see. And opening up the prelims, now this section of the video, this is for the hardcores. Okay, if you are a casual, you're an Aussie casual, you got fucking NRL to watch, respect to you, brother, appreciate you, mate. That's what I think's going to happen in bloody Sydney. That's what I would do if I was running the bloody UFC, all right? But this is for the hardcores now, okay? This is for the watch MMA full enjoyers. So if you're not a hardcore, just don't watch this part because you ain't ready for this, bro. Opening up the prelims, I want Yusri Belgarui versus Cam Rouston. Team Pereira versus Team Adesanya. Am I a fucking genius or what, dude? Hello? Dana, call me up. Sign me up, kid. Me and Timbo were talking about me being a matchmaker. This is the type of shit I do on the day. This type of shit I just throw off the top. This is like a warm-up shot, you know what I mean? I got to the line, huh? Boom, cashed it. Yusri Belgarui versus Cam Rouston. First and foremost, this would be a sick fight. Both of these guys are like tall, lanky middleweight strikers, really, really dangerous. Both guys are coming off pretty impressive KO victories in their UFC debuts. Pretty close together as well, which I like. And the Adesanya versus Team Pereira rivalry, I think is a really cool thing to add onto the prelims of this card, especially with Adesanya there, giving Pereira a reason to come to this card, being in the corner, being in the crowd, being part of Fight Week. I think that's a really like a smart idea in terms of putting together the prelims. So that's the first fight I would add to the prelims. The next one I want to see, bloody Jimmy Crute, Jimmy the Brute, going out there, bloody moving around, stopping on the fucking Legos, going out there, putting the fucking paws on bloody Zhang Mingyang's blockhead. I think this is a sick fight. These guys are both blockheads. Zhang Mingyang is getting out grappled if Jimmy Crute can get a takedown. If Jimmy Crute can't get a takedown, he's getting sent to the Shadow Realm. He's learning Chinese. He's downloading fucking Duolingo. He's turning into fucking Bart Baker, dude. This guy is getting slimed if he can't get a takedown. I think this is a guaranteed banger. And I know bangers. This is a guaranteed fucking banger for the prelims. We got a ranked light heavyweight on the card. We got bloody Jimmy the Brute Crute, excuse me, on a good run, on the bloody comeback trail, trying to get to the bloody belt. I think him versus Zhang Mingyang is a sick fight to add to the prelims. Like I said, guaranteed finish, in my opinion. Next fight of the night. Now, this is where you need supreme ball knowledge. This is where you need supreme ball knowledge, okay? I want to put together a featherweight banger that does not involve Jack Jenkins. You guys know I love Jack Jenkins, but he doesn't want to fight in Sydney. I don't blame the guy after what happened to him against fucking Chepe Mariscal, all right? I'm putting together Haider Emil versus Marwan Rahiki. Now, if you did not watch Contender Series, you don't know ball, you're a casual kid, maybe go watch McGregor Diaz or something like that, buddy. Maybe Google UFC 2016, okay, bro? You're not up to speed yet, okay? Marwan Rahiki put on one of the greatest fucking comeback KO victories on Contender Series. One of the craziest fights I've ever seen live on the Contender Series. And got a comeback victory, was landing spinning elbows, fucking nasty finish up against the fence with the elbows. Haider Emil is the king of the blockheads at featherweight. Super dangerous, super aggressive, goes out there throwing mad combos. I'm just putting the light across my face. It just looks funny. But these guys are both made to fight each other, man. Haider Emil has no defense. He's going out there scrapping. Marwan Rahiki is super long and dangerous. He's either going to snipe fucking Emil straight out, or they're gonna get in a scrap, they're gonna go to war. I think this would be a fucking generational fight for the prelims. I think this is one that would put people on so hard, because I know a lot of people do not actually know the people coming off Contender Series, haven't seen their fights. I promise you, go rewatch Marwan Rahiki's fight on Contender Series. I've seen him fight in Australia before already in person. He's really fucking talented. He's a super good striker, great takedown defense as well. A little bit like to be desired when it comes to being taken down and working off his back. He doesn't really, you know, do that well when he's taken down. But I think this is a pure striking fight. It's going to be super entertaining. Someone's getting fucked up. It's going to be a scrap. I think that this is a really, really like sleeper fight of the night type matchup. I genuinely believe these guys would get a bonus if they fought. So I hope the UFC, if you copy my ideas like usual, please copy this. I will not get mad. I will glaze you, Dana. Make this fight, all right? Last two fights to add to the prelims. Obviously, listen, dude, I'm going to be a little biased, all right? I'm known from time to time to be a little biased. Yes, Paddy Pimblett commented on my video. Yes, I'm picking Paddy Pimblett now, easily, okay? Yes, I'm going to, if I get an interview with Paddy Pimblett, I'm going to tell him I think he beats Ilya, even though I don't. I don't care, dude. I'm going to be biased, kid. I ain't fucking Helwani, all right? I got to add myself to the card. I believe that me versus Tim Elliott is a crafty matchup in the flyweight rankings. Steve Verseg recently got married. Congratulations to the brother. He's had a little bit of time out of the cage. And I think coming back in Sydney in February is a very good idea. I would love to see this happen. And I think him versus Tim Elliott, like I said, two crafty fucking vets going at it, you know, in the words of a wise man by the name of Flukas Duglezi. This is a great matchup. I think the scrambles would be super entertaining. I think this ends with either Tim Elliott getting absolutely schooled or Steve Erceg getting absolutely fraud checked, getting submitted. Like that, I think this is another one that I think would be super entertaining. I think it'd be super scrappy and scrambly. And this could be another test of Pantoja versus Mighty Mouse's legacy, which we've seen lately is leaning towards DJ. So maybe Steve Erceg can get it back for Pantoja and prove that Pantoja is so goated. But I think Steve Erceg versus Tim Elliott, great striking. I think Tim Elliott would absolutely get pieced up in this matchup, but I'd love to see him mixing his grappling because Steve Erceg is a grappler. He's not a primary striker. He's a very good boxer. He's got good teeps, good front kicks, good leg kicks, good fight IQ on the feet, good elbows when you come into the pocket. Pretty solid defense here and there, a little bit sus in the boxing. But his main base is grappling. He's really good at scrambling, and he's a wrestling champion in Australia as well. So I think Steve Erceg versus Tim Elliott would be a really good scrambly, high-paced matchup to mix things up. You know, you've got fucking Jimmy Crute stomping around in the octagon. And I think this next fight as well is also going to need the cage to be reinforced. So I think a flyweight bout just in between to kind of soften up the cage a little bit before we drop fucking Tuivasa on him, dude. Before we drop fucking Tuivasa in the cage and lock the doors, dude. There's going to be a fucking earthquake in Sydney if he gets finished, bro. All right? Tuivasa is coming back. I can't believe I have to say this, but the picture of Tuivasa shredded is obviously fucking AI. There is people literally retweeting this image of Tuivasa. That's clearly AI. Being like, damn, Tuivasa's locked in, bro. You guys are the reason that AI is taking over the fucking world. You guys see a photo and you, bro, oh my god, bro, is Tuivasa that big? I don't want to say what, like, country it is that believes this shit so easily. It's Americans, bro. You guys literally have no filter of fucking sarcasm or joke. I'm sorry, but it's just true. You guys literally will see this picture. Why is Tuivasa so fat, bro? Is that actually his picture? Or I'll say something in a video. I'll be like, Islam fluked to win over JDM, and I'll crack a little smile. Australians and UK people will comment on the video. Bro literally can't contain it. American, bro, this guy seriously thinks he fluked to fucking win. I'm gonna shoot this guy. You know what I mean? That's you guys. I love you guys, but I'm just gonna say it like it is. Tuivasa is not in shape. Okay, but he is saying he wants to come back in Sydney. He wants to come back in February 2026. I believe him. I think the UFC will give him a fight. I think they'll give him an unranked opponent. I think they will try and give him a layup. And I think that Ryan Spann is chinny, has low fight IQ. He has solid grappling. He does have a solid chance to win this fight. But I also feel like Tuivasa could definitely bomb out Ryan Spann if he's locked in. This is the ultimate test, right? Ryan Spann, not spectacular at heavyweight, not on a win streak, not super dangerous, a little bit past his prime. Good skill set, right? Good finisher in the grappling, decent power on the hands, little bit sus in the defense. I think if Tuivasa's actually locked in and near what he was like on his prime, run through the division, or jog through the division, I guess I should say, jog through the Planet Fitness in fucking Western Sydney. I think he wins this fight if he's locked in, but this is a really good test. I think it's a guaranteed finish, which is always, a big part of my matchmaking, as I want entertaining fights. So I would say Tuivasa versus Ryan Spann is what I would add to this card. But let me know down below, man. What do you guys think is going to happen at UFC 325? What fights do you think they're going to make? What do you think of this matchup between Volk versus Lopes now that you've had a little bit of time to think about it? I'm still absolutely pissed about this. You guys heard the rant that I went on, but let me know if you agree, if you disagree. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And go follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Bedtime MMA. If you want to cop some JDM gear or any StreetX stuff, it's super high quality. Just follow my link in the description down below. If you just go streetx.com/bedtimemma, use my code BedtimeMMA in all caps, you get 10% off. So go check that shit out. It's absolutely bomb. And yeah, boys, I'll see you in the next video, man. It's 323 fight week. Guys, I can't wait for this.